Hey, what's up? My name's Ryan.
And I'm Joel.
In this video, we're going to be giving you our top 10 popular games that we just don't get.
Now, there are a couple ways that you can make it onto this list. The first and most normal way is by having a game that's extremely popular or extremely well selling that we just really don't get. Why is it so popular? Also, the second way to get on is just by making a really bad game.
Yeah, another great name for this list would be 10 reasons to make you like us less, because we're literally going after, of the popular games, the one we don't like.
Beloved games with big communities.
So statistically, most of you should disagree with most of our numbers. That's literally what we're here for.
Hope you enjoy.
Okay, so my number 10. It's everything on my list. It's going to get the most people who say that's a stupid pick and I hate you. And also maybe the most people who go, yeah, you go, man. Because my number 10 is Wingspan. so Wingspan has a really interesting history for me. If I would have made this list right after my first 2 or 3 plays of Wingspan, it would have been close to number 1. You were there. You remember. I just really was not a fan. I didn't like it at all. Now, funny enough, over time, Wingspan's kind of suffered from the Catan effect, where Catan got so popular, everyone just loves bashing it now. So Wingspan's sort of in that zone. Over that time, I've come around on it a little bit, and I actually say it's a game I like. It's my 10th spot. It's a game I actually enjoy. Now, it's one of the highest rated games in the world, so that's why it makes the list. But Wingspan also is a good game because it taught me something about myself. It really did. So when I played Wingspan, I was kind of in the zone of my life where every game I played I liked, especially engine building games, right? And I was like, what's missing in this game for me? And I really realized that it's really less the game. It's more, Wingspan is a multiplayer solitaire game, which multiplayer solitaire mean that the player interaction is like so low, you might as well be playing
Solitaire.
No, solo. It rhymes.
Anyway,
but I realize it's just not the game for me. I don't get why people enjoy playing, especially a longer game with 4 players in Wingspan. We're all sitting around doing your own thing on your own player board, and you're not interacting with the other players much. There's just not a lot going on the table.
Okay, so my number 10, I'm sorry, it's going to be a category of games.
It's okay, I'll pass it.
And these are re-releases of games with slightly modified rules. I don't get this. So I've met people who are crazy into Ticket to Ride, and they want to buy, I got to get the Europe Ticket to Ride because it's got a different board and like this one rule's different. Or the Pandemic has, I don't know how many. I lost track, really. There's so many
15,
Pandemics now.
15,
There's so many of those. Or Carcassonne has a million. And to me, I don't get the appeal of like, I want the same game but slightly different. I'm like, no, if I'm going to spend $30, I'd rather just take
40.
Or 40. I'll take a chance on a new game that I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have a game that's good, and maybe there is a Ticket to Ride that is slightly better than another Ticket to Ride. I don't think that doesn't exist, but I don't get the appeal of, a lot of people like to collect all of them, we get all the Carcassones. I'm like, that doesn't resonate with me at all. I don't understand that approach. So kind of all alternate games, specifically the ones I think of that people get a lot are anything Days of Wonder, Carcassonne, and Pandemics.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Some people say, well, the new version's better because you rolled 3 dice instead of 2. You can do that with the old one. Great, that's a great thing. I love that. All right, so my number 9. I didn't know I'd be so passionate about all these games, so I started thinking about what I was going to say, but I think I feel strongly about some of these. Number 9 is Mansions of Madness.
Oh.
Hey, do you want to play a 3-hour game that gives you about 4 decisions in the entire 3 hours? Play Mansions of Madness, but it has cool thematic music on the app, and it has some stories. That was actually mocking. I don't care. There's so little you can do in this game. I know people love this game, but the ones who love it are like, well, we tweaked a few things to make it better, and it's a rough game. There's literally I played this game a couple times, and every time it was we have enough turns that if we take a left and it's the right answer, we win. But if we take a left and what's supposed to be right, then it's over. I just don't get it. I don't want to play a game that lasts so long. I think some people maybe like theme so much they forget that they were supposed to make a game. So sorry if you love Mansions of Madness. It's not for me.
I'm with you. That's actually, I can enjoy this game, but under the stipulation of I will change all the rules that I want to experience the story. Because it is the antithesis of fun. It's not good mechanics. It's frustrating. It is rage-inducing mechanics.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, it's almost worth it to put up with for the stories, but it's not. You have to change it.
You have to change some things, yeah.
So my number 9 is somewhat related.
Mansions of Madness?
That actually has made me think of it. It's not.
All right.
But This is another category. I'm getting close to the end of categories here. Don't worry. Just a few. This is a category that seems to be extremely popular, and publishers just want to make more and more of it. And I thought it was dying, but it still seems to be here. And that's Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much. And just like the alt games, you have to get your Cthulhu Pandemic. And you have to get your Cthulhu Ticket to Ride. That one doesn't exist. But it was like...
Why not?
But it should, right? There's like the Cthulhu...
Someone in the Days of Wonder is just like, write that down.
No.
Write that down.
They're like, do we have to pay them royalties? No, we got this. And I know it's public domain now, and that's why everyone's like grabbing it. But it seems like it gets sales. Like, it seems like people make it like for the sales, which I understand if you want to make some money. But it's like not a theme that excites me. Like, I like the original Eldritch and Arkham horror games a whole lot. I love those games. And the theme works great for those games. But I'm not excited to play more Cthulhu games. Like, it is a theme that I was tired of like 5 years ago. Yeah. And I'm still getting more of it everywhere I look.
Yeah, like we said, this is going to make you like us less because these are really popular games. But I was tired of Cthulhu. The first time I was like, what's this game? There's it's Cthulhu, Ryan. Don't be stupid. And I remember like, it's cool because you can lose your health, but you can also lose your brains. I don't care. I just don't.
There's 2 health bars.
Wow. So I've already mentioned the game Catan, Settlers of Catan. And Catan has gotten so popular that people have started to bash it and nitpick it and be like, there were problems. And I sometimes defend Catan like, well, it's not a perfect game. You don't have to be so harsh on it. You know what I don't get, though? Why does Carcassonne get a pass? Because Carcassonne isn't great.
Oh.
It's just... It's just fine.
Get out. I don't know. We're not related.
Carcassonne, it's fine. It's fine. So, as previously mentioned, one way to make it on this list is to make a game that I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Wow. But if it's so popular, I just don't understand it. I think like when I first played Carcassonne, I was like, it's fine. But then the longer I go from that first play, people are like, oh, these 2 old games, Catan's really shown its age, but Carcassonne hasn't. It's fine, people.
Alrighty, my number 8 is a pick that I don't actually think will offend many people, but the people it offends, it may offend greatly.
I just offended a lot of people. I offended you real hard with Carcassonne, so you're going up.
No, it's fine. Okay. My number 8 is a game called Munchkin. I've played a few of these now. Man, I don't get it. And I don't know if I'm just like in the wrong place. Like it also kind of falls in that like alt game. Like, do you want 40 different ways to play basically the same thing? Munchkin. It's also like this collectible thing I don't really like either. But man, have you played one?
I literally was at a library and they had it there one time. And I started reading through it.
You threw it in the trash to save someone else, right?
Public service.
Yeah.
I just put it away. I was like, I don't know.
Civil servant.
I don't know.
They're not interesting. They're really boring. And I just don't understand. I need someone to like explain. I met people who like them. And, like, they're, like, really like them. Like, I don't get it. There's better games, and why do you own 12 of this game? I think people just think, oh, this is cute, and then they get it, and it's a regret. Like, it's a regret purchase.
It's a really fun idea. The theme is really cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, I tried to play it with a kid, and I'm like, yeah, I'm actually going to kill you so you can't win. Hey, you know what a great game is?
What?
Mysterium.
It is.
I love Mysterium. And for all you out there who love it, I'm not going to pick on that game. Yes. You know what I don't get? Why some people will say like, oh yeah, Mysterium's great and all, but Dixit's the classic one. Dixit is so much less fun.
It's so much less
No, I'm not saying it's bad. This is almost makes the list because the comparison where I think a lot of people are like, oh, Mysterium's fun if you're kind of getting bored of Dixit. And I'm like, no, Dixit should never be played and only play Mysterium. And then Obscura, like in my mind, there's 3 of these games. Actually, I haven't played Stella yet, so Stella might be even better. I don't know. But there's like Mysterium. About 10% down from that's Obscuria, which is very similar. There are games where you have cool artwork on cards. You're trying to decipher basically a clue, a clue type game. Someone was killed, weapon, place, person. Person, place, weapon. Really fun, but you do it through like clue cards. Dixit doesn't have that theme, which I'm fine with having like a lighter theme. So I get if you're going to play with little kids, maybe it's a better game.
Yeah.
But it's just, not near as fun. I would only play Dixit and turn to Mysteria and make it fully cooperative.
Yep.
And that's just, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why it's the one.
I completely agree. The only reason, and I mean the only reason to play Dixit, is if you need to play with children with less dark artwork.
That's true.
That's the
true.
only reason to whip that game out. Because
if you play with adults, you embarrass us.
yes, well, if you own this game, you're a shame.
You better have a picture of your kid in your wallet,
Yeah.
or else I'm just going to leave.
If you like this game, I don't like you.
Please like our video and subscribe.
You know what's a great concept?
What?
Adventure storytelling games. Mm-hmm. But you know what's often poorly executed? Adventure storytelling games.
Yeah.
This is a little bit of a crossover. I threw two games in this box because they both suffer from the same fatal flaw. And it makes them from a game I should love, but I really don't like them without changing all the rules. That is, one you mentioned already, Mansions of Madness, and another way more popular game, I think, called Time Stories. Both of these games, let me set this up for you. They give you a world, interesting characters and stories and like places to go explore. And they say to you, go out and explore and experience this world we've crafted. But you know how they make you lose? By wasting your time exploring the world. They're both timer-based games, the primary mechanism to lose. And it's so frustrating to say, explore, check out this stuff. And then like when you go do that, like Time Stories, it encourages you to play multiple times to optimize your run. You don't optimize a run through a story. You experience like a story or a mystery in the way it should be told, and they're so frustrating. Like they're both excellent games that have a fatal flaw that makes them like garbage to me unless I change rules. Like, I don't want to play those games for that reason. So it's kind of 2-in-1. Mostly Time Stories because I've been more angry at Time Stories, but Mansions of Madness is the same frustration for me.
Could you imagine playing an Elder Scrolls game like Skyrim and be like, I'm side questing. Yeah, the dragons killed everyone. You ran out of time. You big dummy.
You were exploring this open world
with you?
You idiot.
All right, so my number 6 is a game that I get why people might like. I don't get why it's liked so much. It's Splendor. And
yeah,
I kind of enjoy Splendor. I get it. You get a gem. You match it up. Again, we're doing games that are going to make you like us less. You would do the same thing if you made a list of your top games. Like, well, this is 40. It was whatever. It would happen to everyone. Don't be too mean to me. But I just don't get why. I remember this one forum I read online. This guy was like, well, my review of Splendor after 500 plays. What did you do for 500 plays?
Like reviewing getting waterboarded.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's actually, I think it's an enjoyable game. I just think there's so little there. I don't get why it's loved so much. People are like, we want it with a Marvel theme now. Did it have a theme before? Like it's
like
get the blue stuff. The blue stuff will help you buy the other blue stuff later to give you the numbers, to give you the 15 or 20 points, whatever you need. I just really don't get. Again, I understand why it's enjoyable to do. I understand why it's a fun 15-minute game, but people elevate it to like Splendor, and I don't connect with it.
I completely agree. This is like a game that's like a 6.5, 7 for me. Like it's good, but like it's treated like it's gold, and I'm not in that camp. Yeah. It's not like a game to whip out any day. It's a game to whip out sometimes.
Yeah.
Next up on my list is a game called Ticket to Ride. Now, Ticket to Ride was kind of featured a little earlier in my alt games.
You have a lot of weaving here.
They do. There's like, I was mad at the category, but I have some specific ones that I find particularly offensive. So, Ticket to Ride is a fine game. It's like very much like Splendor for me. Like, it's fine. It's mostly random. It has one kind of interesting like shared store mechanism that's like pretty fun. But that's it. It's like one interesting thing, but it's almost like an 1.5 to 2 hour game. And it is like one of the most popular games ever. It has, I don't know, more than a dozen different variations. I don't know how many variations.
The box, I think, says 15 million copies sold or something.
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest games ever made. I'm like, to me, I don't hate it. I'm not like, it's not trash. I think it's good that it's out there, but like, why?
Yeah, why that one?
Why? I don't know what the magic is of Ticket to Ride. It's also like another train game. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so for my number 5, I won't just make you mad. I'm going to make you mad.
Eldritch Horror.
Oh, no! Eldritch Horror is actually on the list for a very similar reason to Mansion of Madness to me.
Whoa.
Do you want to play 3 hours and make about 4 decisions?
Yeah.
I just... Exactly. Now, as previously mentioned on my channel, I have the 2 people I do this channel with, their biggest flaws, they both love this. Joel and Cassie love this game. And it's the one that I disagree with the most. I think if any game we both like, if any game that one of us would love, it's our biggest disagreement. I feel like most of the decisions are, yes, you should do this. This is the right move. And then you might make a couple interesting choices. I think part of it, for like Mansions of Madness, I'm not as much into like, ooh, it's a cool world. Forget the game's not that good. But I know, again, it's a solid game. As I have said before, I think Eldritch is a greater game and more like historic and maybe groundbreaking, brilliant stuff that happens, all the perks, all the cool things, than a game I actually enjoy playing. I feel like I'm very pigeonholed into like, yeah, you should go to this thing. You are the spellcaster. You should go to this city here to do this. And you're like, well, I hope I get one. Oh, I'm lost in time and space again. It's just, I want to have a bunch of decisions for the complexity. If the game is really complicated, I want the number of decisions to match that and to be better. And I feel like the complexity bloats in that game, and I get more decisions out of a light game. Many light games. Any light game than Eldritch Horror.
I understand why you don't like them. I've heard your feelings, and I want to let you know that you're known.
He seems calm after this video. He's going to beat me.
Next up for me is a game that I think you like pretty well.
Hey, payback.
Falls in a box for me that I don't think it's that fun. This is a really popular game that also has many variations all over. It's called Azul.
Oh, yeah.
People are wild about Azul. People at my work, we did an organized Azul game. Like, everyone's playing Azul. It does not work for me. I don't know what to put my finger on. Like, the whole pattern puzzle, I don't know. I just don't think it's that fun. So, and I definitely don't think, even if I felt mid about it, it's definitely not a game that I feel like, wow, everyone should be playing this. It should be like, have all these variations. Like, I don't need another color palette for the same stupid puzzle.
I agree with that. 100%.
I just don't think it's that. It also is very, okay, there's interaction, but it's very solitary.
My best 2-player games video I just made, I mentioned that Azul's on there because I love it at 2. It gets so interactive. I played at 4 and it's just a little like, I'll get the red stuff. I like it a lot. Like, well, I'm with you. I think it's a really solid game. I'm surprised it is as popular as it is too, but I do love it. I'm just shocked. It's like, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, one of my favorite games of all time is Seven Wonders Duel. I love it.
No, this cannot be on your list.
You know what happens if you take the duel out of Seven Wonders Duel? It becomes mid. So mid.
No, it does not. It's a good game.
Let me talk first. I've never understood Seven Wonders. I try to not talk negative. I'm talking negatively right now. But in person to people, I don't bash people's games ever. So some people are like, we played Seven Wonders. Did you like that? And I just say, it works up to 7. That's all I have to say about it. It's just not that interesting. I thought originally was going to play the lower player counts, more players would help.
Yeah.
I thought with more players, you're just kind of like, I'm going to pick one of these cards. I don't know any card I might receive. And I probably won't see any of these again, especially the 7 players. You won't see any of those cards again.
You're just wrong.
No.
It is a good game. It has pretty interesting drafting, and the trading with the players around on your sides is super interesting.
I've heard so many people say, like, Seven Wonders Duel, I wonder if it can kind of reach that level. And I'm like, I hope not. I hope it doesn't reach that terrible level because it's a great game.
Seven Wonders Duel is definitely the superior one.
It's a great game.
It's perfect.
I have just never, from my very first playthrough till now, again, I've played it so many player counts, I just don't get the original Seven Wonders. I don't get the original appeal.
We're all wrong about something.
It's not a good game.
So I ordered my list in order of how passionate I felt about it. So if I felt very passionate that I don't get this, it's going to be my number 1. And my 10, relative, is my least passionate thing on this list.
I have a Wingspan at 10 because I feel at least strongly about it.
Exactly. So my number 4 is actually the game I've had the worst experiences with ever. I think the games that are higher, I'm more passionate about not understanding them. But this, I played 3 times.
Yeah.
All of them was a horrible experience. Partially because of the game, I think, is garbage. But also, like, the experience around and the people. It was a rough situation. So, bad combination. 2-player game with Ryan. And No, this is a game I played many years ago.
I know
called
it is. I know it is.
Libertalia.
Oh, that's not what I thought it was. Oh.
This game recently got a reprint. Freaking Stonemaier was like, remember that terrible game from 2006? Let's reprint that garbage. What the heck? I don't think it's that old, but this is not a fun game. So this is how. Have you played Libertalia?
I've never played anything, so you all hate him as much as you can. I have nothing to add. I've never played it.
I've never not, and this is a popular game. I don't know how to describe to you, like, just bad competition, and then people I was with got really angry about it, which didn't help. Pieces got ruined to the game, which is probably a positive, because hopefully they never played it again after that, because it was so bad. It is a bad game. And
all I can say is this game is really popular, and hopefully it deflects some of the hate, because I've gone after some really popular games. Hopefully it pushes a little on you, because...
You went after Wingspan.
I did. Wingspan, Dixit, Splendor.
Oh, yeah.
I'm way in the hole. Seven Wonders, so...
This is a bad game. It also doesn't even feel like a pirate game. That's what I don't like. If you want to play a pirate game, go play Dead Men Tell No Tales, because that feels like you're a freaking pirate.
Yeah.
So, go play that. This doesn't even make you feel like a pirate. You're just like, playing with numbers and sailing.
Before I tell you my number 3, I just want to say, earlier you went after an evergreen, a staple in our hobby, and you bashed Ticket to Ride.
Yes.
Which was really, really bold of you, because that's like, that is like well-established game. I'm going to take it one step further, because I'm also going to bash Ticket to Ride at number 3.
So, hate him more.
Exactly. It's just, I probably feel the same way you feel. Like you should just collect a lot of trains. You should build the routes of 6, because it scores a lot of points.
All of them.
And just do that, and then try to connect at least a couple of your routes so you don't get negative points from them. Don't keep that. And you just draft cards, and you could just pick 2. Hopefully you draw a random wild, because that's kind of nice. But I just don't understand why people love it. People take it really seriously. If you block their route, you're like, oh, you can't do that. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And like you said, there's so many reiterations to the game. I actually got one, because I was like, I want to try one. I want to prove Joe Braun that maybe they're good. And I was like, oh, it is the same game. Okay. Yes. I don't get Ticket to Ride. It is of all the games, of the 3 classics, Carcassonne, which I already made fun of a little bit, but I admit it's a pretty good game. Catan and Ticket to Ride, of those 3, is by far my least favorite.
Yeah.
By far.
My number 3 is the last category on my list, I promise. This is a whole category of games I really don't get. Hey, have you ever thought to yourself, I want to go buy a game, except I want that game to be incomplete when I buy it, and not be very good experience, so much so that you're going to want to go out and buy little packets of more bits to get more experiences. That's right. Collectible card games. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I have several collectible card games that we've gotten. That's like the starter kit, and they're so not fun and so not incomplete. I was recently given one that I won't say by name so I don't hurt my friend's feeling, but it's so it's just like there's barely anything there, and we're playing, and even my friend was like, oh, it's kind of better once you get a few expansions in. Like, what is that? Like, it's a $30 game, please.
Right.
Like, don't make the first thing you're saying. It's kind of better. I don't get this. I want to buy, if I'm going to buy a game, I want to buy a complete experience. If there's an amazing expansion that comes along later that can do something else that's cool and I love it, awesome. Expansions are cool if they're good, right? But when the game is designed literally to give you a small enough experience that you want to buy more, I just find that frustrating. I do not get CCGs at all.
I forgot to put it on my list, but that's a great one. I don't think you even hit on the most annoying thing is often you can't buy an expansion. You buy a pack, hoping to get a card, and you're like, oh, I have that card already. And I would even add, I should have put this on my list, but I just wasn't even thinking about that. I will add to this, ones based on theme are more garbage. Like, I don't want to be like, swing Aragorn's sword. I hate that stuff. Like, when it's based on, like, stupid. Here's Urk AI number 3. It's just going to do mace swing. I don't care about living collectible card games, either one. Based on theme makes them even more garbage.
Agreed.
Now, you went out there and used up all of your categories at the beginning. I've saved my one and only category for right now, and that is dungeon crawls. They're awful.
Not awful.
Dungeon crawl, and I'm not talking about any dungeon crawl. Actually, I am. They're all awful. But specifically, the one I've had the most experience with is Legends of Drizzt. And it's not a fun game.
So.
But most of them are not fun games. So I don't like the idea of we're just playing a game and you walk into a dungeon, there's a bad guy. What should you do? Well, clearly you should roll your dice and try to attack them. So you do. You may or may not hit them. They may or not hit you back. It's just, I feel like these are like, I don't know the type of people who like them, but clearly people do. Mm-hmm. I just don't get it. Again, we're ordering this list. Like I said, I put Wingspan number 1. It's actually a game that I like. It made, it's number 10. But the reason it made the list was because it's so popular. I actually mildly like Wingspan. We're getting more and more to the games I just don't like. I flat out don't like most dungeon crawls. I especially don't like Legends of Dritz. People seem to like it. There's so many of those games. Yeah. Dritz is just one of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them like that. And I just don't see any appeal in it. I'm just going to roll dice, hope I kill the bad guys. And people are like, I just want to go in there and smash monster. Just like, I don't know. I just play a computer game. Just play a computer game.
There's probably some truth to that. I like dungeon crawls more than you, but I'm not wild about them. To me, like, I've been playing Gloomhaven for a few years.
Right.
And the main mechanism of the game is dungeon crawl, and it's good enough that it provides some interesting decisions that it makes it worth it to keep playing. Right. But it's not something I get really excited about, like, oh boy, here we go, gonna walk through this dungeon, gonna play some cards and kill some bad guys. It's like, okay, yeah, this is the mechanics. So you're just kind of, it's like almost an activity. You're just kind of doing it while you're doing the other stuff.
Yeah, if you can level up, if you can do other cool things, that's better. But the actual dungeon crawl, and that's why these like straight dungeon crawls have nothing else around them, I just don't understand those games. Like, I get the appeal of board games over computer games a lot. I think I like them both. But this is the one category I'm like, just go play a good computer game.
So coming right off the heels of bashing collectible card games, for my number 2, I have a collectible card game. You mentioned Aragorn's Sword. This has been maybe the most disappointing game maybe ever for me. Like, in terms of what I expected based on like how much people love this game.
I'm talking
to
about.
Like how we played it twice together and then I played it a few more times. There's this Lord of the Rings card game. It's popular on this site, Board Game Geek, that ranks, and like people rank. It's ranked really high. People like this game. Like, and it has all the collectible card games problems. Like, there's hardly anything in the base game. It is super uninteresting. You're just doing like the worst thing because it's like if I recall, it's like collectible card game mixed with like with deck building, right, during the round. Because you're like building your deck as you play, right? I tried
to purchase from my memory.
I don't know. I'm trying to remembering. But the decisions are so uninteresting. Because it's like, there's a card out there. You're like, well, you should do damage to it with that person. And you're like, okay. And that's what you do. You just like, wait for the thing to be flipped, then try to build up. It's so not fun. And I'm sure some of you are out there that love this game. And you're like, but if you buy a few packs and build up your character set, it becomes a whole new world of possibilities.
Yeah.
Stop. Anyways.
I'm a little afraid that you guys are going to be really mad at Joel, so I'm going to interject a bonus one right now. Marvel. Get over Marvel. Stop. Because there's a lot of these games that are Marvel-ish.
Make some enemies.
And I know. I just don't get, or any superhero thing.
Villainous.
It's the same thing. Ooh. Should be on the list. But any game where it's like, shoot Spider-Man's web. I don't care. Yeah, I know.
Okay, there's Spider-Man's cool.
But the games aren't. Hate us now. All right. If you've made it through these nine games and you still like us, we got one more to go. One more chance to really make you mad. I love heavy games. I actually have a lot of heavy games I like. But I have such a special place in my heart, maybe even more so than you, for simple games. I just really like a game that is simple and just has a couple interesting, cool things. Like, and I feel like sometimes they're looked down upon by board games. Like, oh, that's not much of a game. There's one game that's one of the simplest games you have in our hobby, and it's garbage. But for some reason, it's the one gamers are like, no, that one's a pass. Sushi Go is terrible. It is. I mean, okay, some people will say...
Do you just hate card drafting?
Some people... No, I love card drafting. That's why they're on the list. If you watch my channel, you know I love card drafting. I adore it. But Sushi Go is just a terrible game. And I know people will say, like, well, it's fun if everyone just... It's just a game you sit around, have a good time, you chat. It's very light. Well, right, you can play, like, hide and go seek. You can play, like, I Spy with My Little Eye. You can play 20 Questions with a good vibing group. Those are all fun things to do. Sushi Go adds nothing for me. I don't understand it. I really want, like, 'cause you introduced it to me and you're like, this is pretty fun. And I always kept it in because I was like, I can't hurt Joel's feelings. But I just don't like Sushi
And now you do it here?
I do it on camera. I honestly don't get it. And here's the thing, Phil, if you're watching, that would be Phil Walker Harding, the designer of this game. Phil Walker Harding is one of the first designers in my life that I noticed his name on enough of my games that I sought out. Like, I don't normally do this. I don't really hunt down designers that much. But there are multiple games, and I've actually bought games just because they were by Phil. And I'm like, this guy's so good. And then I went into his bio and scrolled through the games he made, and I was like, no. No.
It's impossible.
I went on Luke Skywalker. I was like, there's no way. There's no way he made this terrible game. I love this guy's game. I love Phil Walker. If you're watching this, send me all your games and I'll play them on my channel. I'll make tons of sales for you, but just don't send me Sushi Go or Party. It's no better. Sushi Go. I just don't. Why is it the one that gamers had deemed as, yeah, we'll accept that one?
It's a good game.
It's a good game.
You were the only person. I've introduced this game to a lot of people, and they've always had a good time. You are the one who doesn't. It's a great introduction to card drafting.
It's not.
It plays in 5 minutes. It's got pretty interesting things you lay out. It really falls apart with more players. I think it's like almost ideal with 3, but it's a pretty good game.
It's a pretty game.
I'm not here advocating that it's a legendary game. It probably gets more recommendations than any game should of that caliber, but it's just, you're being a little terrible.
It's pretty bad.
Sorry, Phil. I like you more than Ryan.
No, you don't. It's the original look at the pretty artwork and try not to focus on the game. I don't get that. I actually believe Phil goes to sleep at night like, why do they like this one the most? I made so many good games. So many good games.
Throughout the course of this video, I have felt something building inside of me. And I felt, what's that stuff inside of your veins?
Oh.
I've just felt my blood boiling. And I felt this.
Is it raging?
Raging. I have some blood rage. Blood rage is an area control game. Hey, I want to pick on card drafting too. Combined with card drafting, which it's not a bad idea, but like the area control sucks. The card drafting's fine, but it kind of has that like, oh, you might see the same card like once depending on your player count, I think. So you might get one decision in there if you're lucky that someone didn't get to take it. So you're just kind of randomly taking cards, playing an awful area control game. I've never tried harder with any game, I think, to like a game. Because it seemed like I was in this group, people liked it, and like I was the one who was like, I really wasn't feeling it, but I was like, I'm just going to keep trying because everyone seems to be like loving this. But you know what the problem is? People like Vikings. And like that was like enough.
And miniatures.
Yeah, and miniatures. See, like, and I think that was enough to like win them over. Because that's what got talked about after the game. It wasn't really like, and that's fine, like if that's what you excite you, but like it wasn't like what was exciting about like the plays or like cool like decisions people made or like clever strategies. It was like, man, it was so crazy. Like you sent those guys to Valhalla, then used the one bonus to get them back or whatever. I don't know, but like, and I tried several games of this game, and they weren't bad experiences like with the people. Unlike Libertalia, let me tell you, that was just. I don't get, this game is really popular, and people love this designer. I'm forgetting his name right now, but people love him.
See it on the screen
and think he's amazing, and maybe he is. But this game in particular, I've tried. I put my heart into. I was like, I don't want to be the weird one here. I want to like Blood Rage. It's really a terrible game, and just do not play it. If someone try, unless you're just like Vikings, like maybe if you're like a Swedish origin, you'd be like it's in your blood and you'll like it. I don't know, but for me, Blood Rage.
I have not played Blood Rage, but I would agree. I would totally agree with you on the miniature front, where so many people play a game, and they tell you the rules, and you're like, you paid $120 for that, and I don't know what that one is, but just games in general, and they're like, the minis are this big, and I'm like, what else? They're pre-painted, and they have details, and it's like, if that's all there is, I'm really not into those games. Those games that there's basically nothing there. They just look tall. I don't care. Like they're more out there like that. I almost put a category of dungeon crawls in a category of miniature game.
Yeah.
I have been accused of hating miniatures in my life. I actually like miniatures if they add something to the game.
Yeah.
I just don't like games that there's not a game. There's just the miniatures.
Yeah, if you had a game that was already great and you put nice miniatures with it, I'm there for it. But like, that can't be. It seems, especially like maybe in the Kickstarter scene, it kind of drives it a little more because it like makes the pictures look amazing.
Yeah.
Like if that's what's driving the game, like that's gonna be a really short like window of love. When that like miniature like drool like finally dries, it's it. That's like the game's life.
Think about that. All right, so there were our top 10 games to make you like us less. I feel like we literally had to offend everybody in this list. I will just say, in our defense, one more time, if any of you made a list of your favorite games, there would be some games that you would match up with the general population, and some games you wouldn't. That's all we're doing. For the most part, we're pretty reasonable people. People are like, oh, that popular game is trash. And almost always when I play a popular game, I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's literally the opposite. These are just the exception.
And so many of these games, like especially that first 5, I would still play if the group wanted to go. And I'm not going to be like this pouty person in the corner. Like, they're still fine games. And if you like these games and you enjoy having a good time with them, that's great. You should absolutely enjoy having a good time with them.
Yeah, they don't connect with us as much. Or there's that difference of Wingspan's number 25 ever. And I like it. I just don't like it as much as maybe everyone else likes. So that's all we're doing. Hopefully you had some good laughs. Hopefully it was entertaining. We really do feel what we feel, though.
But actually, we're right.
We're actually right. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a good time. If you want to, like the video. It's awesome. It makes YouTube like us more. So helps us out. Subscribe. But also, if you want to add some things to the list, that would be a lot of fun to go down here. Even more rage.
After you watched us in this like hour video and your blood is boiling with rage, maybe you want to leave your own comment and let us know
rage.
What games you hate, particularly maybe area control Viking games that bother you. Maybe.
All right. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.